Hi, everybody. How are you doing? And thank you so much for your support. I want to thank everyone for watching my gaming streams. And today, I'm not doing a gaming stream. I'm doing this little React video because for obvious reasons, as you can see from the image behind me, the Superman trailer came out, and I must react to it. It's a requirement. I must react. And for those of you who want to follow me in the future, you can do so on Facebook, on Twitch, or on YouTube under Emmy Plays One, the number one. And if you want to follow me on TikTok, it's Emmy's Wacky World, all one word, or Emmy Gigs. So now that's out of the way. So before I go into my reaction for the trailer, it really was a teaser trailer, but still, ever since I was a kid, I really loved Superman. I mean, he was my top favorite superhero. He was the ideal that I felt every man, every superhero should be like. And he was like, I was mainly a DC Comics guy. That was mainly my brand that I went to. I did read some Marvel, so my top favorite Marvel superhero has always been Spider-Man. I don't know if it's because they shared the same color scheme as Superman, but whatever. I no, that wasn't the only reason, but I really liked Spider-Man. I got into X-Men around the 90s, like a lot of people in my generation. In case you don't know, I'm Generation X. And I read some other stuff from Marvel, some of the Avengers stuff like the Infinity Stone saga. I read that when it first came out. I read, I don't know, some other Marvel properties, a few Thors. But I mainly stand on the DC side of things. So of course I'm more of a fan of that brand. Just it's just what I got into. So that being said, whenever a Superman anything comes out of Superman, whether it's a radio series, book, movie, TV show, whatever, I'm I tend to be overly critical of it because that's what I love this character, and it's important to me that he's portrayed in the prop for me in the proper way. So growing up, my generation got the penultimate superhero movie, and you know which one I'm talking about, Superman with Christopher Reeve. He was the standard that was to be that any other superhero was to be measured against. And he portrayed Superman perfectly. He portrayed Clark Kent perfectly. I mean, I was as a kid, I used to think that Superman and Clark Kent were two different people. It wasn't until later I realized, oh, it's the same guy, in the same movie, obviously in the same movie. So even I loved it so much. I really believed a man could fly. So I went home as a kid and I tried to jump off the kitchen table. How many of you did that? And it was thank God my grandmother was there to catch me before I fell on the floor. But this was I don't even remember doing that. Like my parents told me I did that. So and I believe them. I believe I would do something like that. So yeah, it was rather a rather big influence on me growing up. And it over the years, obviously Christopher Reeve couldn't do it forever, and of course over the tragedy that happened to him. I actually have not seen the documentary Superman yet, but I really want to, and I intend to. So I'm very interested in hearing his story. The guy, he went through so much, and so the fact that when he couldn't do it anymore, whoever could pick up that cape and take on the legacy was so critically important. And it's like, who could do that? Who would be able to measure up to that standard? And it was hard. I mean, we got a few. We've got, we had Brandon Routh that came up. He did Superman Returns, which didn't go so well. The movie had its issues, of course. I mean, the script could have been better. I do like that the one thing I did like about Superman Returns is that they really tried to go for the Richard Donner original feel, and keep that same feel. But in doing so, they proved that in that time period, in the time period we're living now, it may not necessarily work. So, then they tried a fresh take. They tried to go the Zack Snyder route with Henry Cavill, which I liked Henry Cavill as Superman. I thought, first of all, he looked the part. He was a great actor. He portrayed him well. I felt the only issue I had with I had several, but one of the issues I had with the Henry Cavill films is that, of course, it was too dark and it was too gritty. And for me, Superman, yeah, of course I want to see Superman fighting and doing all kinds of cool stuff, but that's to me that's not who he is. Superman to me is the guy that will go up to the top of a building and save somebody from falling off. And those of you that may know what I'm talking about, what I'm referencing, I can't remember the comic, the issue, but there was an issue where Superman, where there's this little kid that's about to jump off a building, and Superman just shows up and talks them out of it and says, "Hey, look, your doctor really was late to the appointment. They didn't forget you. You don't have to do this." And the writer says it way better than I do. And he convinces the kid that you're not alone. You're okay, and that's it. And to me, that's Superman. That's who he is. He's not just some guy that punches villains around and shoots laser beams out of his eyes. I mean, he does that too. But to me, he's compassionate and he's caring, and he's there for everybody. And that's what makes him such an appealing character. Why he's very wholesome, and it was hard. It's hard to portray that in a way that isn't boring to audiences. And the Christopher Reeve films did that perfectly. Um, and I'm just hoping that this film will also do that. And it's hard because the times that we're living in, it's going to be very difficult to keep the audience's attention, and keep them interested in this character, because let's face it, Superman's been around for almost 100 years now, and he's going to be entering the public domain soon, and it's going to be hard to keep him relevant, to keep him in a way that the new generation is going to be interested. I mean, my kids are cool with Superman, but they think he's a cool character, but they're not like they don't see him the same way I do. They're not as connected to him because quite frankly didn't grow up with him. So they have their own characters that they enjoy. So I think it's gonna be hard for James Gunn to pull this off. But anyway, the trailer. Here's where I talk about the trailer. I'm sorry that you had to wait so long. So the Superman trailer, first of all, I liked it. It was good. I liked it from what I saw. Very different way to start a trailer. I was not expecting that they would start it with him bloodied and beaten and on the snow. Like, that was totally not expected at all. And I was like, where are they going with this? What's going on with this? And I love how he's like, you can tell he's trying to do something, like with his mouth. Like, at first I thought he was spitting up blood, and then I thought, no, he's trying to do something. He's trying to like say something, and then he whistles. And I immediately, like any Superman fan, especially the comics fan, we know what that means when he whistles. It's like, oh my God, is he coming? Is our best boy coming? And he did. And it was so cool to see Krypto. That's the first time they've ever shown Krypto in a live action Superman film, and it was so cool to see him. And he looks great. He looks great. And I know there's been a lot of detractors, or whatever the right word is, that say, "Oh, that's not how Krypto's supposed to look." Guys, look, it's a Kryptonian dog, or at least I don't know. They've had different origins for Krypto, but I think he's supposed to be a Kryptonian dog, and he could look whatever way. I mean, I don't really. It doesn't matter to me the way Krypto looks, as long as he's got the cape and he can, do some of the stuff that Superman can do. That's all that matters to me. He could be an Alaskan Malamute or a Saint Bernard or whatever, a Doberman or whatever. As long as he can do those things, that's all that matters to me. And it was really cool to see Krypto there. And the other thing I really enjoyed was, they showed a lot of the cast members, a lot of the other characters. They showed Lois and Jimmy. I think they showed Perry White, and Lex Luthor looks great. I mean, I'm glad they got him to be bald, because he's supposed to be bald. He kind of gives me a the Luthor from Smallville. He kind of looks a little bit like that actor to me, anyway. I don't know. I think his name is Michael Kramer. I can't. I might have that name wrong. I'm sorry. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. I don't have it on my loaded on my computer to just Anyway, so yeah, he's Michael Rosenbaum. Michael Rosenbaum is his name, I believe. And I mean, I liked the way he portrayed Luther in Smallville. And this guy kind of gives me that. He kind of reminds me of him somehow, just a look. It was really interesting to see. At first, I didn't know who it was. At first, I had to kind of do a double take, but in part of the trailer where Superman's inside what I don't know, I'm assuming it's Luthor Corps or a bank or something, and he's kind of like looking at a screen, and then you see this guy coming in and a green light coming out of him. I'll be honest with you, full disclosure, I at first I thought that was a kryptonite ring because I didn't know and I remembered that a Green Lantern was going to be in the movie, but it didn't dawn on me that's who that was, and I'm like, oh, that's Guy Gardner. And full disclosure, I've never really been a Guy Gardner fan. Like I know a lot of people aren't, but I just as a Green Lantern, I always thought he was arrogant and a jerk. And I don't know. It's interesting to see how they portray him. I like that they are including other characters that are not normally portrayed in film or TV. So I'm really curious to see how they go with him. It was cool to see Hawk Girl done the right way. Like her costume looks comic book accurate. So it was nice. And Mr. Terrific, how cool was that? I always liked Mr. Terrific. For those of you that don't know, Mr. Terrific is a very old character. Well, this version isn't, but he's based on a character that has been around for a very long time. So it was really cool to see that. Really interesting creatures being shown. I mean, there was some kind of like I don't even know what it was, some kind of axolotl type monster attacking Metropolis. So that was cool because Superman is supposed to fight those kinds of things. And I like that they showed the eventual relationship between Superman and Lois. That's not being hidden, because we always get the build up and okay, will they, won't they? We all know they will. And so it's nice to say, okay, we know, that they love each other. And they showed that scene that was from a poster. It was from one of the first posters of Superman putting on his boots and some weird jellyfish thing in the background fighting. And that I get that scene is really in the movie because they show Lois and him kind of in a tender moment, and I guess she's trying to comfort him or something, and the jellyfish thing is in the background. And I'm like, why isn't he out there fighting that thing? Like, what? What? I mean, maybe he just feels deflated or defeated, and she's trying to pump him up. So I guess that might be the reason. But come on, Superman, get out there! What you know? Um, I love how they're showing him and Pa Kent. Pa Kent actually looks like Pa Kent. Kevin Costner, no disrespect, but you just didn't give me the Pa Kent vibe for me. And yes, I've seen some of the Yellowstone series. I know you can do Western, Midwest, Western stuff, but it just doesn't. It just didn't work for me. The way that he did Pa Kent. But this guy, I don't know who he is. Not familiar with him, but he looked really good as Pa Kent. Um, and I love the scene where they had the little boy raising the Superman flag as these armies were obviously there's some kind of battle happening, and he's like pleading to Superman to come and save them. Again, that's Superman. That's what he's supposed to do. And I like that they're doing that. And it was a really cool trailer. Also, of course, the music. If anybody noticed, which I'm sure you will, it's the John Williams Superman March music, but they did a fresh take on it, and it works beautifully. It works beautifully. And I loved how they did it. I can't wait to see this movie. I hope it's going to be just as good as I'm hoping it will be. And James Gunn was quoted, and he said, "Well, this will either work or it won't." And and I agree with him. They won't just keep making movies. If this doesn't work, this is it. This is their calling their big penultimate thing. And if Superman doesn't work, nothing else will. And yeah, I think they should stop. Honestly, we're at a point where I think we're really, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that there shouldn't be any more superhero movies, but there should at least be a break. So because I think people are kind of getting tired of them. So, but anyway, I'm really looking forward to this. And if you guys haven't watched it yet, go watch it. It's a fun. It looks fun. It looks great. And I hope they don't release another trailer. Honestly, I hope. I know this was a teaser to the trailer, so I guess we will get a full length trailer soon. But I hope that's it. Really, really, I hope that's it. We don't need any other trailers leading up to the movie. We know it's coming out. We don't want anything else. We don't want to be spoiled. This is fine. We're okay. This is fine. I know that probably won't happen, but I just wanted to get it out there. So thank you very much for your time. I'm sorry this video went on so long. And again, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Emmy Plays One, either Twitch, Facebook, or YouTube. I'm also on uh, TikTok under Emmy's Wacky World or Emmy Gigs. Thanks for your time, guys, and I'll see you out there. Take care of each other. Be kind. Be awesome. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and take care of yourselves.